Hey guys, I'm Jameson with Rogue Engineer, and today I'm going to show you how we took this blank storage room and turned it into a storage mecca. Let's get started. So I designed two units for this room. One was the massive heavy-duty storage unit that would house all of our bins and our bigger, heavier items. And the other one was a multi-purpose unit that's got a workbench, shelving, as well as some hanging space for winter jackets and stuff like that. When we went through the layout of how we wanted the storage area, we knew that we didn't want to put anything against the wall. We've got some complex walls and we've got things on those walls that we need access to. So we wanted a freestanding unit in the middle of the room that we had access to both sides from. The issue was that we have a lot of storage things, bins that need to go on there, so we needed to make it extra deep so that we could put both or load it from both sides, and we needed to make it super heavy duty so that it would be able to support all of that weight. Now my storage unit is going to be 8 foot long by 5 feet wide, and that's going to allow us access from both sides and allow us to store 30-inch long bins on either side. Now in order to accomplish this, we're going to need to cut 3 inches off of the end of the board, and that's going to allow for 2x4s on either end and still give us an 8 foot length. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I marked 2 feet and 4 feet. Since the sheet of plywood is 4 feet wide, that will span from here to there. And we'll make sure that this 2x4 is aligned, the middle of this 2x4 is aligned with 48 inches. That way, our piece of plywood will end on here, halfway onto this 2x4, and then the other 1 foot rip will land on there as well, and they'll share this 2x4. This one is here just for a little bit of extra support. You don't want to span the full 4 feet without any support in the middle. So we'll screw all these together with 2.5 inch wood screws. This again was cut at 5 feet and the other boards were at 93. With the structure done, now we're going to grab a sheet of OSB and we'll lay it on this portion of the platform. We're going to need to rip down another foot wide portion of OSB to cover the remaining section. And I'm actually just going to attach it with 2-inch brad nails. You can use screws, but I think this will speed up the process. I've got a lot of platforms to build, so I'm going to stick with the brad nailer. To make the 1 foot rip cups, basically what I'm doing is I've got 2-inch rigid foam insulation underneath of a sheet of plywood or OSB, and I'm going to be using the Craig rip cut circular saw attachment to do so. This just makes the process a whole lot easier. I want to thank today's sponsor for this video, Diablo. Most people don't realize that you can actually upgrade your circular saw and take an otherwise inexpensive circular saw and make it perform so much better just by replacing the blade. Diablo makes all kinds of blades. Today we're using the 6.5 inch finish blade from them, and the nice thing about this is it leaves a beautiful cut, but it also extends the efficiency of the cordless circular saw. So it's going to make smoother cuts. It's got a really thin kerf, so it's going to be easier on the tool, allowing it to perform better and batteries to last longer. If you want to learn more about Diablo tools, make sure you check them out at diablotools.com. The way that we made this was we ended up building 3 5 foot wide by 8 foot long platforms, and we used 2x4s to construct those platforms out, and then we sheathed them with OSB, 1/2 inch OSB. Then when it came time to actually build the structure, we used 2x4s as the uprights, but then we also sistered 2x4s in between and below each one of these platforms. And what that does is that actually provides a load path from each one of these platforms down to the ground, instead of relying on the screws for sheer strength. Now, one of the things with a structure like this is you have to be able to take out any wobble to the platforms. Now, when you're loading your bins into the front of this or the back of this, you're going to be creating a force that's going this way. In order to take that out, we use a cross member on both ends going the opposite way. And what that does is as you move this, as you apply a force this way, it counteracts that force by taking it down to that other corner, the opposing corner. So that stiffens this up incredibly so that it's not going to wobble this way or that way. Now I've got a wall on that end, so I don't have any lateral support this way, just as of yet, because I do have a wall over there, and then there's just not gonna be that much force on the end of this unit. I also didn't want to restrict my access to the front of these platforms. However, if I did want to add some lateral support there, I could put some smaller 45s on the inside of this unit right here or here on all 4 of these corners at each one of these platforms. And that's not going to restrict too much of the access to each of those shelves, but it will also help take out some of that wobble. So I am about 200 pounds in weight, give or take a few pounds, but directly in the middle of one of these platforms, sitting on the very top shelf, and there is hardly any flex to the platform itself. And then I know that these, the ends and the uprights are going to support that platform. However, we're never going to load that much weight up top here because it's just hard to get to. Most of the weight is going to be on the ground or on the first shelf. Now we use mostly the 27-gallon totes from Home Depot, and the nice thing about these totes is they're super durable. They're you can stack them. They support a bunch of weight on the top of them. So if you're transporting them somewhere else, you can stack them on top of one another, and you're not gonna have to worry about the lids breaking. And this unit right here will actually store 32 of these totes. It can be 8 on each platform. Now, if you wanted to beef up this unit, you could add another vertical support here and then some cross members from that middle support to the other one, and that's gonna help support these platforms as well. But as the structure stands, there's going to be the full plans for this build on my website. So if you want to jump on over there, you'll get the full materials list and all the assembly instructions, all that jazz for free, as always. Now I wanted to create a space in here that Jamie could come and wrap presents, or we could have a small little workstation in the storage area for just doing odd jobs and stuff like that. So this is what I'm calling our multi-purpose unit. The nice thing is we've got a workstation here, we've got shelving for all kinds of storage in addition to the heavy duty unit, and then we've also got some hanging coat storage as well as some space below it for like a safe or taller items that need to sit on the ground. Now the construction of this unit is fairly simple. Over here we've got a shelving unit. We didn't sister any of the 2x4s in between the platforms that we built, but basically each one of these platforms was built 2x4 construction, just a simple box, and then we cut down OSB to go on top of that, and we stapled that to, or nailed those OSB platforms to the 2x4 boxes with 18 gauge brad nails. And then we screwed them to the upright, the vertical 2x4s. And the vertical 2x4s are about 6.5 feet tall. And that gives us enough space for the shelf to go above the workbench and not have to hit your head on that, but still easy access to the top shelf. After constructing the shelving unit, then we moved on to this unit over here, which is a simple shelf. It's just a 2-shelf unit with a hanging bar in the middle, open storage on the bottom for taller items. Like I said before, we've got the safe down there that we needed to accommodate. But same basic construction, 2x4 boxes, OSB on top, stapled down to that, and then screwed to the vertical 2x4s. When it came to the workbench, what I did was I set these 2 units in here and pushed them to the sides as far as I could, and then I measured the opening between those 2 units and started to build the platforms for the workbench. We also did a lower shelf right here, which is going to be for bins, and just another shelf to keep your workbench clear, say when you're wrapping presents, to put those odds and ends down below and not take up space on the workbench. Now for those platforms, we use the same basic construction of 2x4 boxes. However, we went with a higher grade, a melamine top, which is gonna give us a nice smooth work surface for wrapping presents. It's not gonna be that rough texture that OSB has. We also made the same platform for the top overhead, and that just extends our shelving unit across the top. In addition to the workbench and the shelving unit above, we added some pegboard behind here. We screwed a 2x2 to the top of the back of the work surface, and then we screwed that pegboard in place, and that's going to give us room for all kinds of storage and being able to hang stuff on the wall, easily accessible for any odd jobs that we have going on down here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I absolutely love how the storage room kind of came together, and there's a lot of different principles and techniques that you can use for all different sizes of storage shelving. For instance, light duty shelving, you can rely on those screws to attach the platforms to your uprights. But if you need a heavier duty solution, something like this, then you're going to need to sister those 2x4s in order to support that and give you that load path and make sure that everything is evenly supported. But wait, before you go, make sure you check out this video up here. YouTube thinks you'll like it, and I do too. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that one right there. And if you want the full write-up on both, and I've got plans for both of these, make sure you hit that button down there. Until next time, be safe and happy building.